Idris being banned out. It's either they just remove that Castro just for the extra burst coming into this draft at least, or maybe just remove that Catherine, or maybe even that Arden, forcing the side of Impunity to settle for, say, a Glaive roam, a Batiste roam, or even worse, a Finn roam. Of course, I'm not doubting the ability of a Lance, but Lance going into that of Lyra, I don't think it's quite well or quite good for that matter. So the side of ASN, they are taking their time to think about this current ban, but they should just remove another roamer, another meta hero that can support that of Baron. They do remove that of Arden. So we have 3 roamers removed from the fold. So it is down to Impunity and how they are going to support this Baron. They can't go for that Lance just for the extra CC, but as said, it's not as good. Or they can just go for that Adagio just so, to keep on levels with that Lyra's heal coming from that Imperial Sigil.
And we will have to see as the side of Impunity goes into a bit of that bonus time, has a think on who to pick up here, because they're really putting down the grounds. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for their Roma in this situation and wait to see what the side of ASN pick up, because nothing really has been given away by that Lyra pickup. Lyra just being a good Roma, as you mentioned, with the Imperial Sigil and everything, but they're going to go for it all, and they're going to take that Kestrel away, which we know was really such a key in that previous comp with Kestrel on Blue City, or Blue City on Kestrel, I should say, doing a lot of work there for that team. And I think if they're able to pick up an engaged roamer like a Catherine or a Lance, that's really going to work in a similar way to the Grace they had previously.
Well, yeah, they do pick up that Glaive. Oh my god, I kept confusing. Oh, my tongue is constantly tied between Glaive and Grace. But they do have that Glaive for the side of ASN. Like I said earlier on, for their second ban coming up for the side of ASN, I was hoping they would have settled for the Castrol being banned out because of how strong Castrol is. But, Aroma being banned out just to restrict, the options coming out for the side of Impunity is also an intelligent one. On top of that, forcing Impunity to go onto that of Lance. Quarter 4, as we all know, has been known to be a rather good Lance in the past, but with all the current changes made to Lance, the Githian Wall, increased cooldown on the Githian Wall, and of course the Impale as well, would make Lance not as viable as the other meta heroes. And on top of that, I did say as well that Lance into a Lyra might not be the best option, but what else can they go for? They can't settle for that Finn. Finn is just way too slow to keep up with his team. Granted, the team can fight around Finn, but really, as a Baron, you really just want to jump in, you want to be in their faces. I mean, judging from draft itself, although the side of Impunity, they've got the Castro, they've got that Baron, and they've got the multitudes of CC that Lance can bring to the table, I personally think if ASN Esports do play well, they might actually have this game.
And you're right, they do have quite a good lineup there with the CC available to that team. However, I'm just looking at Impunity right now and those powerhouse picks of the Baron and the Kestrel. And as I said, they're going to go for that kind of Roma with a good engage, being Lance in this case. I'm going to have to give it to Impunity for this one.
Oh, so it's 50-50 on the desk itself. So, honestly, like I must agree with you, it's a lot of firepower coming out from the side of Impunity. But there is only one hard CC that, the side of ASN has to block, and that is just the root coming out from Impale on that Lance. So, and of course, Vision as well, just so, Crystal Castrol is just not as good. I mean, Vision is the only way to counter Crystal Castro if you can catch her out with those flares, if not, then Scout Traps. Whereas on the side of ASN Esports, they've got a Glaive, they've got a very good engage coming up from Glaive. Not forgetting as well, they've got Lyra for that engage and disengage if needed as well with that Arcane Passage. So honestly, it's quite divided on the desk at this point in time. And in myself as well, in my mind, I'm pretty... 50-50 on this current game as well, because honestly, both of them looks like they've got very good draft. Let's all be honest right now. They've got very good engage coming out from the side of ASN, and on the side of Impunity, they've got so much firepower. So at the end of the day, I think it is just down to execution, as we did see coming out from the side of Impunity. Then their execution was on point in the previous game with that Grace lineup. So I don't know. You know, maybe we should throw over to our casters and let our casters tell us what they think about who will win, right? Because honestly, the desk is now 50-50. So as we hop onto the foes, as we hop on into the foes, let's throw it over to Asarai and Mini and see if you guys would go 50-50 as well.
All right, so Mini, you first, man. What do you think?
I really like the draft from ASN. I think Shingy is extremely comfortable on the Celeste. Celeste is a pretty common pick in SEA. Most teams like to play her. And I think Aeon on Glaive will be able to afterburn either Bluxty or DefQ. And once that has happened, then they're going to die pretty quickly. And once that afterburn's been used, they've maybe they've stopped the jump jets from Baron with a bright bulwark from Lyra, and then Baron's not going to be able to go anywhere. If they find Kestrel, Kestrel's not going to be able to go anywhere. And so I personally prefer the draft from ASM. What do you think?
Actually, from my perspective, I might actually take you up on that with ASN as well, because I don't know, the Baron might be a bit too iffy for me. I don't think if like the Lance would be able to set up enough to be maybe combo, like, you know, get that Lance or the Impale to actually connect into 2, maybe even 3 targets if he can, and then get the stun and then let the Baron deal the damage. But I don't know, with a lot of ability from this Lyra with the passage plus the active camo, I might just give it to ASN as well.
Yeah, I think the main problem with Impunity's comp is obviously they're short on captains, with almost all the captains that are meta being banned or picked. They were forced to go on Lance, who's a hero that was really meta, but fell out pretty quickly once he got his Githian Wall cooldown nerfed. And so his cooldown is much shorter on the Githian Wall than when he was played before, which really, even though it doesn't seem like a lot, it's only cooldown on one of his abilities. That's his main form of CC. Obviously, the root is very important, but it's only important because you are guaranteed to get a double stun with Githian Wall if you get them anywhere near a wall. And so I think Quadivore is really going to be tough. He's going to have to time the engages perfectly to make sure that the Githian Wall is off cooldown and that he can land a double stun. Apart from the Kestrel active camera, that's the only CC, and that's really seeing engaged onto Shingy.
Lance going aggressive into this one, but really what can he do against a lot of this, I would say, poke potential from ASN? This is what I've been talking about, like what I would have called it like weeks before when I was casting, I think split 1, the poke at the choke comps. Ooh, nice pushback though. But actually you didn't see who got the steal on the Trent.
I'm not quite sure. I was just looking in the lane at DefQ pushing it up.
Yeah, I think it was the city.
Yeah, I think it was the Crystal Kestrel. Kestrel is most likely to be able to secure that tree, and both junglers are going to be very defensive. They're going to not want to push. Obviously, Celeste wants to hit level 8 before she tries to poke out Kestrel, because Kestrel has max range on Glimmer shots level 1, whereas Celeste doesn't have that until level 8. And I think it's going to be reasonably hard for Shingy to land her poke on Celeste, but when the poke's landed, it will be so much damage onto both members. And they're going to go into lane.
Here we go. Afterburn on DefQ. The charge is real, but he does have the leap away. Heliogenesis from up above. That's the power of the Celeste.
Extremely well played from Shingy, landing the double stun onto Baron. It's really important to chain the CC in the right way. It has to be, Aeon has to get the afterburn first, and then you can get the bright bulwark from Lyra to stop Baron jumping away, and then you can get the stun from Celeste to make sure that Baron stays in the same place. So it's a really good comp from ASN, as long as they execute it properly and Celeste doesn't waste her stun trying to get someone before the afterburn. They should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really, I would say, that baity to use your core collapse to go for the stun. Just wait for the afterburn, like you said. The problem now is, the problem now for Impunity will be how can they actually transition this into, I don't know, how will they actually counter a level 8 Celeste right now. I mean, it seems kind of impossible with the setups from ASN's Lyra and that Glaive.
Well, if ASN set it up correctly, it's going to be very hard for Impunity. But all Glaive has to do is get one ever so slightly wrong afterburn, and they will lose the fight. If ASN punts Kestrel away, and they're going to go in, they really want to fight. Nope, there's going to be a bit of poke from Luxady. But if Glaive doesn't get that perfect afterburn, he's going to die almost definitely. So that's one way Impunity can win. But if they get the good CC from Lance before, then they've got a chance.
Speaking of good CCs, there's another one from A. As Cordoval looks for the side flank, he left his Baron unattended. And there you have it. One good afterburn. Yet again, Cordoval is doing as best that he can to actually shield the Kestrel from all of this damage. He's lining it up, the Impalix to connect as well. He's using his shield for blocking. But
Luxady!
Luxady from the sidelines. They're trying to run away with the active camo. Damage though from the Baron. And Chingy gets punished in the blink of an eye. He uses the Githian wall to the wall, and DefQ up again with the rockets. They get 2 kills, and wow, ASN dove a bit too deep into that one.
That is exactly what happens if you go too aggressive, make one ever so slight mistake from ASN. DefQ will just destroy you, and Aeon, one shot! No, not quite.
DefQ though, will he get punished though? That's the question. No,
He'll be
Cordoval's gonna be able to. Yeah.
He can run away. Both teams, if they overextend, they'll get punished, and they must be thinking, oh, this is so tough because I want to go in, I want to secure the kill. If you go under turrets, there's a lot of burst damage if Celeste can land it, and if Kestrel can land it. And obviously, another way that Impunity can turn this game around and start winning team fights is if Kestrel is allowed to poke before the fight starts. If they can dodge Shingy's Heliogenesis, even at level 8, it's going to be quite hard for Celeste to land them. And if they can dodge that and let Kestrel poke out first, they're going to force ASN to use all of their tools they have to engage. They're going to force them to use it to disengage. Maybe the Arcane Passage away, Afterburn defensively, then ASN really have nothing. If Lyra has to run away with the White Bulwark, has to run away with the Arcane Passage, and Glaive does the same, then there's really no chance for them to win that fight. They have to just wait for wait for their cooldowns to come up and wait for another fight. So that's one way Impunity can. Another way they can turn this game in their favor.
In their favor, Cordoval actually looks for another way to open it up for Impunity. Although Tezza Boys ever so slightly sidesteps the one shot, one kill. And to the side, we are seeing Chingy set up some Heliogenesis traps so he can activate it and burst down people who actually walk into that trap. Cordoval, nice Githian wall for the pushback, good damage as well. While DefQ from the sidelines tries to clear out the wave and maybe even deal some turret damage, but they just back off and, well, live to fight for another day.
Yeah, it looks like Aeon's going to go for the Swordblade Poison Shiv build on Glaive. There's no healing on Impunity apart from the Fountain from Cordoval, but Poison Shiv's such a strong item that it makes sense to buy it anyway. Impunity got mini candy, going to go in with Lyra.
They're going to go in aggressive into this one. Both parties have their ultimates. There is the Iron Cannon already used from DefQ. One shot, one kill with the damage. Oh, so close to 8. Would have been able to kill Chingy there if it wasn't for Tezza Boy's heals. I think he had the fountain already. I could be wrong. It's a little bit small on my client, but
he used the fountain and the block as well to keep himself alive.
Aeon diving once again. The damage though. Look at Kestrel popped like a bubble, and here ASN going for the chase. Looking at Cordoval has the combat roll, and he'll be able to get away from the damage, the harm that ASN is dealing with, but will they allow it so that ASN will be able to get this turret? I think not, ladies and gentlemen. There's gonna be the one kill. I almost thought Aeon was gonna be surviving that one, but I was wrong. There's at least the defense on the turret that's up, so it's gonna be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Impunity.
Yeah, it was Cordoval managing to start that basic attack and finish the basic attack on Glaive. Secure the kill. It was a good push from Shingy. He tried to just get the turret low as possible, but Baron actually jumped through a Heliogenesis when Celeste laid it down. So that means the turret was not focusing the minions, it was focusing the heroes, which led to Aeon going too low and falling. I think Shingy won't be too disappointed with not getting the turret, because Shingy did manage to stay alive, and it's going to be tough for Impunity if they want to try and use that level 8 to poke from Celeste, because that makes it even harder for Aeon to get a good afterburn. Up to now, Shingy's been quite close to the fight because she hasn't had much range on Celeste's Helios, but now with Shingy at level 8, Glaive's going to be a bit further back from DefQ and Bluxity, and Glaive's going to have a much harder time landing a good afterburn, but not with the portal from Malira. He's going to go in.
Not for the portal from Lyra, indeed! What was that? DefQ! Did he just use the passageway and then go for the leap? Oh,
he used his jump jets and was, while channeling, went through the passageway, so he jumped up on that.
That was some crazy ass maneuverability there. And there we go, ASN finally breaking down some turrets, breaking down some hearts, and they found themselves a little bit of an opening. Oh my goodness.
The 50 range on Baron's jump jets wasn't quite enough to keep him alive, though. He still did fall. It was a really good arcane passage from Lyra to get Aeon onto the back line, but there was an active camo trap set by Kestrel already, because Kestrel knew Lyra was going to go in to try and kill Baron, so Kestrel just put an active camo trap on top of Baron straight away. So when Aeon jumped through the portal, Kestrel could get a double stun onto Lyra and onto Glaive. But again, it wasn't enough. An infusion on Glaive and Celeste, as opposed to only an infusion on Kestrel, was partially why ASN could win that fight. But yeah, it's really going to be all on that Glaive to get one good afterburn, and looks like they want to go in. There's going to be some poke from Lance, nothing from DefQ or from Bluxity. Bluxity doesn't want to give away his position on Kestrel to get those traps down without ASN knowing, and they're going to try to take the gold mine, but it will be spotted out by Lance, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but they gotta be careful. The poke at choke is much more deadly on the side of ASN. Like you said, with the level 8 overdrive on the Heliogenesis, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for them to actually maneuver without getting these shots off. One shot, one kill. Not gonna happen.
Lance got it!
Lance got it! Oh my goodness.
That's the Rome securing the gold mine, because when you've got Celeste...
Did he hit it with the Githian wall?
Yeah, it must be, because it wasn't an Impale. I don't think it was a basic attack. It must have been a Githian wall. And you've got a Baron, a Celeste, and a Kestrel, and yet the Rome can still pick up and secure the gold mine. That's pretty interesting.
Interesting indeed. My goodness, I did not imagine that to happen.
Yeah, so Impunity going to be happy with that trade, and they're going to back off. And there's the basic attack from Lyra. It will follow the Cord of Fire back to the base, but will not stop him from porting. Impunity picked up Sorblade Tension Bow, full Aegis, already on DefQ.
Oh, the damage on the Chingy though. This could be the full commitment from Impunity, but they gotta remember there is in here from ASN. There's the Solar Storm to connect onto 2. Still not as scary enough of damage with the compared to the one-shot, one-kill of Kestrel. But here comes Aeon. Look at the pushback. The speed boost from Cord of War, almost on the inch of destruction. But ASN going back in, wants to go aggressive. Cord of War has to be the front line here, but Chingy going 1v1 against the Kestrel. This could be a little bit bad, but Aeon actually connecting with the Afterburner. That's the 2 kills already. Looking for the 1. Can they go for the chase? They're looking at it. They want it. Aeon is looking for the dive. They have it. Oh, the recall was just in time, but they will just look at the turret, and they should be able to get this with the damage from that Glaive. Iron Cannon will not stop it, so there you have it. 2 for 1 with another turret as well.
Yeah, ASN taking that another turret down. Baron living on a slither of health. 1 basic attack from Lyra, 1 Imperial Sigil would have been enough to take him down, but he managed to port home, prevent the ace, and it probably would have been a half-full gold mine or maybe a Crystal Sentry taken, so they wouldn't have lost a lot more if he'd have given up the ace, but they certainly would have not been happy if they'd have given over an ace there. There's a slight lead for ASN, which is really good. Celeste tried to 1v1 the Kestrel pretty much at point-blank range, which isn't the worst idea. Obviously, you both have very similar range at the moment, and maybe Celeste thinks that Kestrel's going to land the Glimmer shots no matter what, so I might as well get on top of her and just try and do some basic attacks while I throw Helios down. It did work out just about. Chingy was very low and so was Kestrel, and then Glaive managed to come through, secure the kill on Kestrel, and because Celeste has more splash damage than Kestrel does, Celeste had already bursted down Baron a little bit, so Aeon is pretty simply able to 1v1 Baron, especially with heal from Tessa Boy. There won't be any steal this time on the gold mine. There was no vision at all, so ASN just pushing that gold lead up to about 4,000 gold lead. So they'll be pretty happy with how this game's going and just want to take another fight.
Do you think if Aeon did not respond with the glaive there, could it have been a win for Impunity?
I think it would have been a win for Impunity if Kestrel managed to take Celeste down in that 1v1. That was all Lucy needed to do. He has got a reflex block, so can block the core collapse on Celeste, and if he does, I'm pretty sure he would win a very similar 1v1 if the same fight happened again, because it was the core collapse that basically stopped Kestrel from being able to kill Celeste. So if Kestrel's staying alive, then Glaive has almost no chance of winning 1v2, whereas in a 1v1 he has a good chance against the Baron. Celeste trying to push this turret, but Impunity just going to back off, port home. Just want a shot, but Kestrel is still going for the double Shatterstar build. It makes sense as there's no shield at all from anyone. Not much point getting a broken myth if you just want to do pure burst. And ASN going to go for the Crystal Sentry, down to 2 lives remaining, and they could go for Kraken. I think Impunity are going to port home once more, and are then going to go straight to Kraken to try and make sure that it's not taken without them knowing. Lots of flares picked up by both captains.
Yeah, I was actually about to say the same thing. So there's lots of vision for ASN and Impunity to, either go for the Kraken or contest the Kraken. Court d'Ivoire. Oh, he went for the left. Will he look for the right? He's gonna be face checking. Here we go. Fight. 3v1 situation. Court d'Ivoire trying to run away, but afterburns just too much with the damage. ASN, or rather DefQ diving in. He's going in with the jump jets, but it's not gonna be enough, and that's gonna be 2 for O. This Kraken is ripe for the taking. So the fruit of destruction will be taken from the tree by ASN. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, there you go. There's the Kraken. And I don't know if Blue City can actually get this.
They know where Kestrel is. There's a flare right now, so they know exactly where Kestrel is. So there's absolutely no chance for one shot. The only chance you have of stealing the Kraken as Kestrel, and Blue City not quite caught out by that flare.
Couldn't get it.
Managed to get home. And yeah, you could steal the Kraken with a one shot if the enemy has no idea where you're standing. They can't block it. But as there was a scout trap and a flare on Kestrel, they just knew exactly where she was. And so Kestrel was not even going to try the one shot. They knew they were body blocking it anyway. It's slightly caught out by Court d'Ivoire. He face checked the bush where where 2 members of ASM were waiting for him, and then he was in the pole position. And Shingy is really good at pushing this Kraken, but DefQ and Blue City should be quite good at defending it as well. I don't think they're going to win. They're probably just going to try and push maybe 2 turrets, but that Kraken is very healthy. Shingy's going to try and poke, and Blue City's just waiting. He's got an active camo trap down. It's not known about, and it has actually expired before he will be able to get anyone with that stun.
This beast is gonna start cracking onto the turret, so we'll see if ASN will try to hold off or actually push with this beast of theirs, and they look to go for it. Aeon, oh, he just got obliterated in terms of HP. Aeon, he did actually survive, but Tezaboy did not. Ooh, that was amazing damage coming out from Impunity, but they did lose the 1 turret. This Crystal Sentry will go back into the jungle, and maybe that's going to be something for ASN to clear out, but wow.
Yeah, it was well played by Blue City. He got loads of active camo traps down, was constantly resetting them, and as soon as Glaive afterburns in, DefQ standing in the perfect position so that if Glaive does get an afterburn onto DefQ, he's going to be standing immediately in an active camo trap, and that time it's actually the one shot that managed to proc the active camo. So Glaive, after he got the afterburn, just has to run away. He could try and fight Baron, but if he gets a couple of shots from Baron or Kestrel, Glaive's just going to die straight away. So Tezaboy used the Fountain, the Imperial Sigil, the Echo, absolutely everything to try and keep Glaive alive, and was just about enough. It looks like Impunity probably could just take this first turret if they push the minions in. ASN aren't there, and there's a flare. They know they're not there. Impunity could just get it if they want to, and I think DefQ's going to try, and he will just about. Minions are going to get the first. So that would be good for Impunity. They'll be happy with that, and just port home.
There is at least a slight goal advantage here for ASN. No Kraken just yet to push for them, so no 4v3 pseudo situation here for ASN. But there is only 1 turret remaining from this Vayne to be exposed. It's actually on half HP. So
there's no scout traps at all anywhere.
Yeah.
ASN going for the back door. There's Lyra, and they've been absolutely spotted by the Crystal Sentry. They're just going to bait the back door, force the port home, and take the Sentry. Oh, ASN, that was so sneaky. They just used War Treads on Lyra through the Sentry, and because Lyra with that arcane passage, you can just backdoor over the wall. And so Impunity all ported home, and they've eliminated that Sentry. Very smart play from ASN, and there's still no scout traps at all. And so ASN could just backdoor, and they're going to try a sneaky play.
They're going to be spotting themselves out. 3v3 here. Q though, he has to back away. This Baron is kiting perfectly against the AL. One shot, could get it. Nice one from Tezaboy, actually blocking the ultimate from the Kestrel, using the passageway to get away. But Chingy did have to get caught out from that one, although it looked like ASN were able to stop the bleeding. But the Kraken has awakened, so this could be a bad spot right now for ASN.
Defky's going to try and go in.
No, they're still going to go for the fight. He's so aggressive, and Impunity will be able to capitalize. DefQ jump jets over the wall so nobody can fight him there and see him fall. And this Kraken should be an easy steal. Or rather, no... good deal, actually, for Impunity.
Yeah, they're going to get probably 2 turrets before the Kraken even marches down the lane. I think it's going to be a slight problem for Impunity that actually they're not going to get this Celeste to be able to clear those minions out. Because obviously there was a backdoor potential, but Quarterfight is just standing right at the base, being like, you are not getting past me. And you're going to miss the wall jump. And DefQ wants to punch you. They know he's going to jump over the wall.
DefQ's the one who got the wall jump maneuvers, but the one shot, one kill's not there. Oh, will he get punished? No, he got the other jump jets. He'll be able to escape.
Didn't quite get the snare from Lyra, and there's no chance for backdoor because Impunity is just pushing. Chingy's got really good Kraken damage from afar. Aeon hasn't. He has to be up close. And DefQ just wants to go for the turret. I'm pretty sure they don't want to fight. They just want to get the turrets. Chingy doing really well to zone out. Kestrel wants to go in. There's the Iron Cannon. It looks like they might try and fight.
Iron Cannon, the damage connecting onto Chingy, but again, they got the Imperial Sigil. But
they're just backing off, aren't they?
That's interesting, though. But I guess they're not comfortable going up against ASN, even with the Kraken on their side. Could be.
Yeah, I think that they were too worried about Shingy being able to land a core collapse, and if they died, if 2 of the members died, then they would have almost certainly lost. They would have lost the back door, and it looks like Impunity are going to go for their own back door. They're all waiting in the top. Maybe they are going to push it a little bit. They know there aren't minions because when Kraken's on the bowl, do not spawn.
I like how the Lance did the combat roll. You know, like the cool kid trying to sneak into the base.
He did, and then he failed. But both teams are going for it. Maybe ASN are in the at the enemy base. I think they're going to put home. They don't see Kestrel. ASN do not know. They're showing themselves.
They're showing themselves on the lane. Oh, this is bad. Impunity know what's up, and this should be it. Can it be? Is it true? Is it going to be Impunity to get it off? And they will. There you go. Impunity.
It's take the game.
Oh my goodness.
They're up against a crystal-powered Kestrel, and there is not a single scout trap on the board from either team. I think it's not the worst decision. Obviously, it was a great game from both sides.
Oh man!
I think Tezaboy built an Echo, had flares obviously, but he didn't build a contraption against the Crystal Power Kestrel. And when you only have 1 turret left, they tried the backdoor themselves. ASN faked the backdoor to take the Sentry out, and so they must have known that they have 1 turret left. They can backdoor, and Impunity have just got the comfort. They've got a Baron, they've got Kestrel. It was really smart for Kestrel to go first, so Kestrel was invisible to see where the minions were, to see when Quarterbar you could just sneak through. But I'm sure some 2 people, in fact, who will be eager to talk about this game are analysts. So I'm going to pass it over to Ironquest Jewel and Luxury.
Wow, thank you. What a match that was, though. And I was just about ready to say, okay, look who was the odd one out. Look who said Impunity would win this. Because throughout that whole